Just like we expected, the offense bounced back. Welcome to another episode of Chicago Bears Breeze, my friends. My name is Philip Charles VanDerHeyden IV, a.k.a. Philly the Fourth. I'm here to talk about today's practice, day 7 of training camp, and it was a successful one for the Bears offense. A lot of different stuff for you guys today. I have a lot of different passages that I thought were interesting, different quotes that different guys had. Overall, though, a good day from the offense. Now, they were just in shorts and shells, for whatever that's worth. They were not in full pads, but, it was a successful day. So I've got a list of the different highlights that the offense had. So without further ado, with no pads on Wednesday, the Bears did not do any 11-on-11 sessions at full speed. If there was one highlight play of the day, it was a diving catch that journeyman veteran Kaden Davis made during a 7-on-7 session in the red zone. Davis, who has seen limited reps with the starters, caught a ball from Williams as he ran toward the back corner of the end zone with cornerback Tyreek Stevenson grabbing his jersey from behind. Receiver Roma Dunze showed off his hands with an impressive catch over the middle as DeMarco Jackson was closing in on him, and Williams also peppered Luther Burden III and Colston Loveland during 7-on-7 sessions. Running back Kyle Monangai scored a touchdown on a short pass from Williams. I also have this list right here. Along with his touchdown pass to Davis, Williams also connected for scores with Kyle Monangai, Luther Burden, and Colston Loveland twice. The strike to Monangai capped off a 5-for-5 showing during the first series, and Pearson noted that the connection to Loveland featured a beautiful back shoulder throw. In all, Williams went an impressive 9-for-10 on his throws and had 5 touchdowns in total. The only incomplete pass was a throwaway, noted Adam Hogue. So it's exactly what you want to see. Of course, they're in shells, shorts and shells. So you take it for a little bit. Obviously, you want to see them do this with full pads on, right? And I think that they'll be back with full pads tomorrow. I could be wrong, but I'm still, I'm still given heart by what happened today. I think it's still a good development. You want to see the offense bounce back. It would have been even more, it would have been an actual red flag if they didn't do well today in shorts and shells. So the fact that they did their jobs, you didn't see the ball on the ground much. You love to see it. That's what you want to see. So there was a few different quotes that came out of practice today and or different passages and articles. And I thought were really just important, as it comes to building the team and what this team is building together, the culture that they have created. So first and foremost, I've got some Cole Kmet praise by Press Taylor, our offensive coordinator. Cole is everything that we are about. The way he approaches his work in the meeting, in the building, just the presence he sets the tone for us. He's got the right mindset and he's about the right stuff. He can do anything we ask. He can line up at fullback. He can be inline. He can motion out. He can play in space. And he's been a great role model for Colston, for Sam, for those guys, but also just our entire offense as an entire unit. He has done a great job. And I thought that was notable because, we don't hear a lot about Cole Kmet these days. He's kind of really taken a back seat, to Colston Loveland. And, I mean, if we're being honest, rightfully so. I mean, Colston looks like he could be a top 3 tight end in the league. I think we all respect and love Cole, but, that was never him, right? But his role on the offense is important, and being a role model for these young guys, that is important. It's very important that we can draft a guy like Sam Roche, and we don't need, Colston to be his vet. Colston's is still trying to work on his craft. A second-year pro, yes, he knows what to expect, but, you don't want that guy to be your teacher. Having Cole there, an established NFL vet, who's made money in this league, has made plays in this league. That's important. So love that for Cole. I also had a few different quotes here on the from the offensive side of the ball. This one I thought was important just because Darnell Wright just got signed yesterday, and he credits Dan Rochar, our offensive line coach, who Ben Johnson brought out of retirement, for his improvement. So I think he's such a good teacher, and he does it with he's not yelling at you, he's not screaming at you, he's not demeaning you. He's telling you what's good about the rep and he's telling you what's bad about the rep so you can see both sides. Instead of maybe if you have a coach that just tells you everything what you just did was wrong with the rep, so maybe the next rep you change everything. Now you have a different result and you have no consistency to stack on top of each other. Whereas Dan, he shows you what you did good with the reps so that you can keep doing the good things and fix the bad things he tells you. That's the biggest thing. Rochar was blunt in his assessment of Wright at this time last summer. He said that the right tackle needed to become a lot more consistent. They got in the lab and they stayed after it, and now the Bears believe they have an elite player and a first-round pick who finally has panned out for them. I don't love that line. Brad Biggs wrote this. Don't love that last line, but hey, it is what it is. You have to understand, Dan Wright said, he's never going to come to you and say, this guy is just perfect. There's always something he has, which I appreciate. There's always is something to work on, but I have to take it with a grain of salt sometimes. He's hard to please. Just to come back around to, I don't love a first round pick who's finally panned out. Like, I think we're pretty safe in saying that Caleb Williams has panned out, right? Like, I think it's pretty safe to say that, I'm trying to think of other, like Roma Dunze has worked out. Yeah, maybe he's not as elite as you wanted a top 10 wide receiver to be quite yet, but he's a good wideout. Like, he's not a bust. So the Bears, I don't love that line. I mean, Colston Loveland was one of the top tight ends in the league last year. By the end of the year, has he not panned out? Brad just loves to pepper on the pessimism at times, and it's just like there was no need for that. No need for that line. We got an elite player in Darnell Wright. Ended it right there. That's it. But my beef with some of these entrenched Chicago reporters runs deep. Dan Wiederer, I'm looking at you, buddy. That guy. He'll tell you it's a cloudy day when the sun's out. Anyways, I'm curious how some of these guys are going to start reporting now that the Bears are actually kind of good, because the pessimism in Chicago sports media is rampant, especially in the big newspapers. And I don't know if that's just the way they are, but I don't love it. I don't like to say things are good when they're bad. That's not what I'm saying, but there's no need to be pessimistic just for the sake of it. If there's reason to be optimistic, let's just be optimistic. But sometimes with these older news reporters, they feel the need to bend it back to, to give some, they always have some backhanded compliment. I just don't love it. I'd like to see some more optimism in the Chicago sports media, especially with how our teams are performing lately. So, anyways, going back to some positive stuff, I've got Caleb in a quote from DeAndre Swift. In his second season with Ben Johnson's offensive schemes, he is still constantly working to improve every detail. Williams' dedication to his craft and poise during training camp has not been lost on his teammates. In fact, running back DeAndre Swift dubbed Williams as the most improved player in camp right now. Just seeing his poise right now, his process, I'm here pretty early, so I see the little things he's doing on the daily. Second year in the system, I just like his approach right now, his focus. If Caleb Williams is truthfully our most improved player, that's bad news for the rest of the NFL, because Williams was pretty good last year. But if he's going to improve that much, yeah, you could take that regression and throw it out the window. I know that Ben Johnson's using that regression line as a source of motivation, and he should. The Bears are, to this year, in my opinion, won't need to rely on turnovers because the offense is going to get the job done on their own. I really believe that. So we'll see what happens. But speaking on, a couple of more clips, that these are from Xavier Thomas, who I've dubbed as the dark horse X factor for this team on offense, the speed demon, the rookie out of LSU. And he's got a couple of different quotes here. One about Caleb. Let's go. Get used to it. That's what Caleb Williams told Xavier Thomas after uncorking a 60-yard bomb to Roma Dunze at Chicago Bears minicamp and the rookie receiver still hasn't stopped thinking about it. Caleb's crazy, Thomas said. When we first got here on minicamp, he was scrambling this way and threw a 60-yard pass to Rome and looked at me and just said, get used to it. And I'm like, this is crazy. So just currently building at that relationship with him and having that bond with him. It's a small moment, sure, but it says a lot about why Chicago's offense has so much hype right now. Williams knows exactly what he's capable of, and he's making sure his new weapons know it too. Love that. And then this was a Xavion quote on Khalif Raymond, the veteran that we brought in from who was familiar with Ben Johnson's offense from Detroit. Thomas has also leaned on veterans such as Khalif Raymond, whom Johnson has specifically instructed him to shadow when he first arrived in Chicago. When I first got here, I was talking to Coach Ben. He was telling me about him. You have a guy named Khalif. I want you to follow him around. I want you to do everything that he does, Thomas said. So that's what I've been doing. I've been staying on his hip. Between Raymond's mentorship, Williams' leadership, and consistent opportunities with every offensive unit, Thomas appears to be exactly where the Chicago Bears hoped he'd be at this point in camp. It's still early, but the rookie is making plays, earning praise from his teammates, and already has one awesome welcome to the league story of Chicago's franchise quarterback. So, just good stuff all around here. First of all, I want to note that all of these good things that people are saying about other people, right? That's important. That's when you know that you're building a culture, a winning culture, a positive culture that lends itself to development and to winning. Because these guys are all not just balling for themselves, they're balling for each other. They're playing for each other. They believe in each other. You know, so I love that all like none of these quotes, they're all quotes from a person talking about someone else. And that's everything, you know, like again, it's just building the right culture. Ben Johnson is we're in year 2 of his regime and things could not feel more optimistic if you tried. So I firmly believe the Bears are on a great path here. These quotes tell you that. And, that's the theme of today's episode is just the culture. The culture of this team, it's burning bright, and it's the right things are being said, the right things are being done, the right players are making plays, and things are bright. I cannot wait for the season to start because I believe that this team is building something special, and the way that they're going about their business, that tells you exactly why and how. So the last thing I wanted to note before I get off of here is Kobe Bryant had posted on Twitter saying something like he sees everything or something like that. He said, Kobe Bryant had said, I see all the shit talking too. Say no more. Because there's definitely some people on social media who were talking shit about Kobe after he tweaked his knee. So I like this from Kobe. Like he's saying he sees the negativity. He's going to use that as motivation to get better and show all these people who are being negative that he's still going to contribute to this team this year. He could be back as fast as week 2, depending on how fast his knee heals. So, it might be like week 4, week 5, but it could be as fast as week 2. And at that point, like that's amazing. So, the people that are doubting him are saying that he's already like a bust as far as a signing. They're tripping. And but there was a fan that responded to him. And I just want to say, don't be this guy. Don't be this guy. Focus on recovery, not social media. You'll get eaten alive otherwise in Chicago. We expect performance on the field, period. So work hard to get back on the field and shut off Twitter. Dude, that is the most loser ass energy in the world. These guys are like, you want him to spend 16 hours on recovery? Dude, the guy is going to work his ass off to get back on the field. He's a Super Bowl champion. I think he knows the things that he needs to do to be successful. I hate when fans talk like that. Like, dude, the guy he's a human being, right? If he wants to log on to Twitter for 30 minutes out of his day, Let him live. Let that man live. Like that stuff is ridiculous. Telling another, just because they're professional athletes, they're supposed to be robots or they're not allowed to use the internet. That's that's silly to me. I know that Kobe Bryant's going to do what he's got to do to get back on the field. Period. End of story. These people, like these fans that want to tell these guys how to be, saying that we expect performance on the field. Period. Like he needs to know that. Like Kobe Bryant doesn't understand that his performance means everything. It's so stupid. It's dumb, fake macho bullshit that if Kobe Bryant was in that dude's face, his nuts would shrivel into raisins. He wouldn't say that to his face, and if he did, he gets smacked. So I don't believe it. So whatever. Losers. Complete losers. Old man yells at cloud. For real. But anyways, that'll do it for this episode of Chicago Bears Breeze, my friends. My name is Philip Charles VanDerHeyden the fourth, aka Philly the Fourth. It was a good, positive day with positive praise and positive developments at Bears camp. And again, we're gonna roll on to day 8. I'll be back here with you tomorrow, my friends. As always, long live the Chicago Bears, but most importantly, long live you, Breeze Nation. Everybody have a great rest of your night, and bear down, Chicago.